Good evening and welcome to True Doug Man Encounters. I'm your host, Marvin Allen. If you or anybody that you've known have had a sighting or encounter and would like for me to share it on my channel, then please contact me. I would love to hear from you. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. As you all know, it's a lot of things that I'm finding out about these creatures and these cryptids, about people being murdered and killed, and it's just being covered up. It's just being covered up, and it's a shame that these high officials can get you to change your story about something you seen that have just killed your pet or that have killed a loved one. As you all know, I will be finishing up Ty J's encounters too. I'm gonna go ahead and upload some of these encounters that I got and that I have, and get them out the way. As you know, anonymity means a lot to me, and I breaks that for no one. So without further ado, let's jump right into this encounter. Now, this first one is just something I was working on, and I'm gonna tell you how the government work and these high officials. I had an eyewitness who used to walk her dogs in this park all the time. But she said after a while, she started to see large black dogs running fast through the tree line. She said she never saw something move so fast in her life. So she said one day she went out, take them out and let them do their business. So she never had them on no leash enough, and she would let them run around. So they started to, walk around and sniff and stuff like that. She said until they got out of sight. And once they got out of sight, she heard this horrific sound that curdled inside of her body. And she started to walk in that direction of where she heard it at. Then she said she could hear what sounded like bones being cracked. So she ran and she left out. She left out and she went back to call her nephews. Called the nephews, they came over. She told them everything, what happened and what she heard. So they told her to wait right here. They would walk in and, look and see. So they walked in and they finally came upon what looked like is a carnage scene. Both of these dogs were ripped apart, gutted, devoured, legs ripped off, head ripped off and slung over here. He said body parts was everywhere. So they went back and they told her. And they asked her, what do you think happened? She said, I have no idea. She said, but I have been seeing these really, really, really large black dogs running through the tree line sometime. They said, what you mean? What, a coyote or something? No, a wolf? No, nothing like that. These things they was huge. They was humongous. They was big. So, called the officials out there. They come out, they talk to her and everything. And they asked her, well, what do you think, killed your animals? And she told them that she think it was these other dogs that was in the area that was way, way bigger than her dogs. And she said while she was telling them this, she said the officials' eyes got big. And that's when they scared her and they spooked her. And telling her, don't tell nobody about this. It probably was some coyotes or whatever like that. And that's what these people put in the report. That's what they said happened to her pets. It didn't make no sense, and this lady is still scared to this day. That's her encounter. So, without further ado, we're going to jump right next into this encounter. Now, this encounter right here happened down in the South. It was a widower. And she said she had one son. And, she had, cats and dogs and stuff like that. She said for the first few years, she had no problem. She said, but after those years passed, she would notice that some of her pets would wind up missing. And she never knew what it was or what was doing it. She said one evening while her and her son was sitting in there and they was eating dinner, she heard this awful yelp and scream, like something was yelling for help. So she jumps up, she grabs her rifle, heads to the back door, and as she opened it and she looked out, she sees something just take off running back into the tree line. Now, mind you, she only caught a glimpse of this dark silhouette running back into the tree line. So she goes out there. She see that one of her dogs are dead and just ripped apart, So she took it and she buried it because she said it probably was, coyotes or something other out there that was killing her. She said, but this went on for weeks. Something would come and just kill something. But she said one night, when sitting in there, eating, her and her son again, they hear this horrific noise, this sound of her animal out there like it's begging for help. And she sat there and she told her son, she said, I can't sit here and not go out there. She said, because if I catch what's out there killing my animals, I'ma kill it. So she grabs the AR, goes open up the back door. And when she goes and open up the back door, She sees something, runs behind the truck, the back of it. So she walked to the steps, she's shining the light, and she finally sees the animal, the dog. And it's down there, it's still alive, and it's breathing. Then she followed this blood trail that led over to the back of this truck. And she goes up. And then she stopped. And then she goes on to say where she stopped at. She said it messed her up in the head because she shouldn't have saw that. She saw what she said was a hand with claws. And she followed it up even further. Then she said she saw this face of a demon, of a devil, of a werewolf with a long snout, and she could see the pointy ears sticking up. And she could see that this creature had fresh blood around its snout. She said, and as she looked at this creature, it like gave her a smirk, like a smile, like it was laughing at her, like it was taunting her. She said, but once she seen that, she froze up. She could not shoot that gun. She said she could not shoot that gun because she didn't know what this thing was. So she kindly walks down the steps. She grabs the dog, but still watching this creature. And she drags it back up until she get it onto the porch. And then she tell her son to take it in the house, which he did. She still watch this creature. That's when it came out. And it made itself known. She says this thing looked like a giant werewolf. The snout, the ears, the shoulders, the long arms with hands and claws. And it had the canine legs. She said it just stood there with that smirky smile on its face. And then she said, this creature licked its mouth like it was licking the blood off of the snout and nose. And then it turned and walked back into the tree line. When she get in the house, she asked her son, she said, what in the world could that be? That's when her son came clean. And he said, Ma, I saw that a few days ago, just right outside the beginning of the cornfield. And she said, why didn't you tell me? He said, what I supposed to say? I saw a giant dog standing up on his legs or a werewolf. She said, yes, you should have told me. So this startled her for a while. And when asked, is you still having problems out of this creature? She would go on to say that she can tell when it's around and not around because animals are abundant when it's not around, such as deers and raccoons. She see all type of animals. She say, but when this thing is around, no, animals stay away. They don't even come around when this thing is in the area. Now that's her encounter. So I'm gonna go ahead and upload this, and then I'm gonna come back and tell some more. And I'll see y'all on the next True Doug Man Encounters. Let's get it.